Baby Ace is sitting there looking at Big Lou saying, you know, I had to protect Mama from getting a beat down from Keke. If I wasn't for me being there, Mama would have got a beat down from Keke. So thank God I was there, Daddy. I said, I know that's right, Baby Ace. So anywho. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here at my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. It's Saturday night, so we definitely got to talk about Owns, Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 6, episode 26. I believe the title was like Whitlows Stay or Whitlows Go. Before we get into it, y'all, please continue to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for the new subscribers. Like the video right now before you forget. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all thought of the episode and share the video where you like to share your content. Now, I thought the episode was actually really, really good. So let me know if y'all agree in the comments or were you bored? Because I know people may have found it boring. It was really heavy though, I will say. It also had me missing Love and Marriage DC. Just because like looking at Chris Fletcher and his son reminded me of Jamie and Lil Jamie. Also, when is this cast trip? I was gonna say class trip. What is this cast trip? So we can wrap this season up because are we on 26 episodes and when is the reunion? Anyway, let's get into the review. So we talk about Keke. You know, we left off with Keke and Tiffany about to hash it out with Stormy because Stormy was bothered by that Carlos King interview, I guess, girl. So Tiffany came through with her braids and Baby Ace because she said she won't be getting her hair pulled and she won't be getting beat down by Keke, okay? She got her protector. Baby Ace is her guard, her watch guard. Anywho, so she sit down. She whole time the baby fumbling. She fumbling with the baby. You know, it's a whole distraction. I'm like, child. Anywho, so Keke, you know, she said she was ready to lay in Tiffany and give her an earful. She was like, oh, baby. She was not expecting Baby Ace. So Keke basically gotten right into it because Stormy was like, you know, I didn't like how the interview went with Carlos, and you know, I don't want things to get worse than what they are, and I feel like y'all don't really have a beef, so y'all can talk it out. So Keke said the thing with Tiffany, she didn't appreciate that Tiffany, you know, was coming at her and all the things she said in the interview, and really the interview was all about her. And Keke said that, you know, at the spa day, when, you know, you said you had a problem with me and you wouldn't be friends with me, and me and Tisha had just talked about our stuff right before that. So they played this clip of the spa day. Y'all remember that. Was that this same season or last season? Child, I don't even know. This season that went on so long. I think it's the same season though. Anywho, so Keke's thing is like, you're making a impression off of me based off of things you have no idea about. So Tiffany was like, because Keke was like, oh, you were being shady in that moment. You were doing this and that. You were talking about me. And so, or you were coming at me. And Tiffany was like, well, I wasn't really trying to throw a shade or come at you. I was just stating like, if you could do this to your cousin, then what kind of friend would you be to me? Which I thought was valid, okay? I know we don't like Tiffany, but at the same time, we all side eye Keke like, Keke, if you're gonna do all this to Tisha, then we kind of looking at you sideways. Also, didn't Keke tell Tiffany she knew where her daddy is or something like that at the tea party? But they didn't went back and forth at each other. I feel like they're both guilty parties. Keke's thing is like, why you keep bringing me up? Why you keep, you know, insinuating all these things about me? You keep saying all these things about me. And so Tiffany feels like, you know, everything with them has been blown up, and they've made it more than what it was, and everybody else has made it an issue, and it's really not an issue. Tiffany also felt like a person like Keke, like she don't have too many friends, and she wouldn't be friends with a person like Keke because Keke be fighting everywhere. Keke said, let it be known, she ain't started no fights, she finished them. People get into it with her, and she get back at them, okay? But she don't get into it with the people. Tiffany said that honestly, you know, she hasn't seen this side of Keke. Tiffany did say, you know, she's trying to listen and receive, but she wasn't really getting it at first. Stormy said, you know, Tiffany like to talk a lot, but she's really non-confrontational. She ain't trying to really get into it. And I agree. Tiffany don't want no smoke. Tiffany all mouth and no action, okay? And so she was like, that's why she got Baby Ace. So he is her bodyguard. He's a cute bodyguard, and he is. Baby Ace is cute. So Tiffany basically said, you know, like, I never seen this side of you. I'm getting a different energy from you. And Stormy talks about energy. And you're right. I don't know you outside of Latisha. And, you're right. I didn't give you a fair chance. And Keke also said, okay, you insinuated about some things about me not being good enough to be around the group and all this thing because of my drug problem. And so she's like, that's my past life. Is it your past life, Keke? I don't know. Allegedly. So anywho. Tiffany said I would never, talk about somebody that was on drugs. Everybody knows that growing up, my parents were on drugs, so I would never, make a light or make fun of that situation or say you weren't good enough. I forgot Tiffany parents was on drugs, y'all. And then was her foster care parents or adoptive parents? Child. Anyway, Tiffany said, she's ready to bury the hatchet with Keke and they could have a new start. Keke said she didn't anticipate them getting into it. She thought they were friendship would go. And she said they ain't got to be best friends, but they are going to move forward. So they agreed to move forward. Tiffany said in her confessional that, she never saw the side of Keke. She's ready to, let things go. She said every time Keke would come with a certain energy, she would feel like she had to match the energy. So, if Keke said something wrong, she feel like she had to say something wrong back at her. And she don't even know where that came from. And she just want to go home and cuddle with her baby. I think she's got caught up in the whole reality TV thing. I can see so many people get caught up on these shows, okay? So, but Tiffany, girl, goodbye. And that's no shade, girl. I want you to go home and take care of you, that baby, and Louis. That's what I want you to do. So Keke said they're going to, move on. Stormy's like, you know what, this is good. This gives me hope for my mom and my auntie, girl. I don't know about that, but okay, Stormy. Anyway, then we move on to Martell, Chris Fletcher. So Chris Fletcher goes over to see Martell's new house. Martell is moving. He just moved last episode. He had his glasses on because he got his eye surgery. Chris was like, I saw Martell them glasses. I thought maybe one of his baby mamas hit him in the eye or Sheree and busted them up. But either I don't care because he didn't got out this house and now I can sell it and, take care of the owners. He was talking about this Martell Manor. I was like, not Martell Manor. So anyway, now Martell said he got the surgery to remove, got the fat from under his eyes, get them bags from under his eyes. Why is that a concern, Martell? Did you get your builder's license yet, Martell? I feel like your priorities are a little off, okay? And then Martell said he got to get some more chairs for the table because all them kids, you got 5 kids, he said. Side note, Martell got this black chair I'm sitting on. I don't know if y'all can see it. He got the same chairs I got, and I got a glass table like him. However, the base of my table is also square glass, and his was something else. But anywho, I was like, no, Martell having my glass table. So anywho, Martell asked Chris Fletcher, how was your family dinner and all that? And he said, oh yeah, things got heated, with my son, little Chris, and Lexi, my son Alexis, and she feels like she didn't get everything the other kids got, and Kayla got a new car. She feel like she should have got a new car, or she was really going off, and all this stuff. We had our family drama. So Martell's like, yeah, people shouldn't get disrespectful. There's a way to say things without getting disrespectful. So Chris Fletcher's like, speaking of getting disrespectful, right? What happened when you came over to the house before the dinner? And so Martell's like, oh yeah, I came over to the house and brought off the Inez wine, and me and Miss Nell got into it. And so Chris is like, yeah, what happened with that? So Martell is basically telling him like, yeah, I feel like Miss Nell's being disrespectful, and I'm not about to let no woman disrespect me. I'm going to correct her. I'm going to put her in her place. And I was like, Martell, I know you ain't standing in this man's face and telling him that you going to correct his wife if she say something wrong to you. I was like, who was Martell talking to? Who was he talking to? Chris better than everybody right now. So anywho, Chris is like, what? What do you mean? My wife was disrespectful to you. Like, what? And then he was like, no, I'm saying women shouldn't think they can disrespect women, men. And then if you're going to disrespect a man, then you're going to get disrespect back. And he was like, hold on. My wife would you gonna do what to my wife? He's like, was my wife disrespectful or was she telling the truth? And then he was like, nah, she was, coming at me, this and that. And he was like, no, did you just not like what she was saying? And that's what it was. He just didn't like what she was saying. And he was like, oh, well, you could tell the truth and be disrespectful at the same time. And he was like, she's over there bringing up Martell cheating because she said, oh, how do you think Mel felt when you were cheating on her? And he was like, I don't understand, why she had to bring that up. And I felt like she was taking jabs at me. And so I'm like, Martell's thing is he didn't like, he didn't like what she was saying. And he was like, oh, well, you could tell the truth and be disrespectful at the same time. And he was like, she's over there bringing up Martell cheating because she said, oh, how do you think Mel felt when you were cheating on her? And he was like, I don't understand, why she had to bring that up. And I felt like she was taking jabs at me. And so Ms. Nell calling him out on that cheating. That was the whole thing. Ms. Nell was not mean to him. Ms. Nell did not disrespect him. She only raised her voice at him when he was raising his voice at her. And in my opinion, like, I don't have a problem with a married woman talking to a man and all that, how they try to make it a big old deal. But I feel like Martell was a little bit out of line where he was standing up on that porch yelling at Miss Nell. He was a bit out of line. And so Chris Fletcher was like, I want to make sure there's no issue on both sides and no disrespect on both sides. He's like, because it sounded like you might have been disrespectful to my wife. Like, and so they played the clip. Yes, he was disrespectful to your wife. You need to get in that ass, Chris Fletcher. Excuse my French. And so anyway, Martell was like, no, like, if I disrespect one of y'all's wife, I'm going to call y'all and have a conversation with y'all, and we're going to discuss it. No, you ain't, Martell, because you ain't going to feel you did nothing wrong. Anyway, Chris Fletcher did say, you know, Nell could be, you know, a little passionate about what she talks about, but, you know, it is what it is. And so, you know, he's like, I'm just, you know, she want to talk about, you know, Melody Holt and, you know, Mel cheat, you know, me cheating, but what about Melody Holt's cheating? What about that? And so then Chris Fletcher was like, well, Melody Holt, she ain't Holt no more, she Rogers. And so then he's like, oh yeah, y'all went to that name changing thing. How was that? Y'all went to that. And so Chris Fletcher was like, oh, it was good. It was a good time. It was really, really nice. It was like a wedding ceremony. And then Martell's like, ugh. And so he gonna then tell Chris Fletcher, oh yeah, it feels like y'all didn't pick the side. And Chris Fletcher's like, we not picking sides. It's the Holtz right here and the Rogers over here. So then, first of all, Martell, you sound like a kindergartner talking about they didn't pick sides. Like, how old are you? You need to grow up. And you need to, like, let all this go. Like, Mel has moved on, sir, and you need to move on as well. And you're the reason why your marriage ended the way it did. Not Mel. You are the only reason why your marriage fell apart, Martell. You're the sole cause of that, okay? Anywho, so then Martell's like, oh yeah, she wanna, you know, I hope she happy now changing her name to Rogers. That's what she want her new name to be. Chris Fletcher said it was always that. I said, yes, Chris Fletcher. It was always Rogers over there. So Martell gets in his confessional, was like, you know, that's whatever. You know, man, want to change her name to Rogers, have a name change ceremony. Like, I guess that's some bull. You know, I don't like that. You know, it just feels like, you know, she is, you know, completely removing herself from being attached to me at all. It's kind of like going back to when we first, before we even met each other. I said, that's the point, Martell. Mel's trying to run it back to before she met you. That's why she's doing all of this and having a whole wedding to change her name, because she wants to go back to the Rogers she knew and not the Holt she was with. Okay, do you get it now? Do you catch it now, Martell? Anyway, then Martell tells Chris Fletcher, now this is the part that blew me, y'all. This is the part that had me heated. And you know what I say? It's a good episode of Love, Marriage Huntsville when I am yelling at the TV. So Martell fixes his mouth to tell Chris Fletcher, you know, I feel like everything Melody does is for clout, to try to destroy me. She keeps trying to destroy me for clout. And he tells Chris Fletcher, and you already know that. I'm like, Melody don't need no clout from destroying you. How is Mel changing her name destroying you, first of all? Second of all, Melody doesn't have to do anything to Martell to get clout. Mel has way more clout than you will ever have, Martell. So she don't have to do nothing to you to get clout. I was like, something is really awful, Martell. Girl, Mel, you didn't, good for you for getting that divorce, girl. Because something is really, really, really wrong with that man. Something is truly wrong with that man. If he think that he is giving her clout for her doing stuff to him, no, you tripping. You tripping, Martell. Anyway, now we go to Kimmie and Latisha. Finally, the Scotts are back. I was like, where the Scotts been? They did 2 whole episodes without the Scotts. Anyway, we see, or was it 3? Anyway, Latisha and Kimmie are having a little sister date, you know, and so they go to the Yanni Steen spa. You know, they're going to get some rejuvenation down there. And so Kimmie is going because, you know, she wants to try to get her sex drive back and all that, you know, trying to please Maurice. Side note, I love Kimmie's look with the white pearl earrings and the white dress and the red hair and the white pearl necklace. And I was like, I got some white pearl shoes that go good with that outfit, Kimmie. Anywho, So Latisha said she happy to help, Kimmie get it back popping for Maurice. So the lady shows them where they're gonna be at. They're like, oh, this is nice. This is nice. We could have had all the girls here. Yeah, they want all the girls there. So anywho, the lady tells them, okay, you're gonna change into these little moo-moos. Take your panties off. This is gonna help you. We're gonna put some lavender and all this is gonna open the stuff up. Tisha said, what if you think you might be pregnant? Is that a good idea? And so she was like, well, you wouldn't want to do this in the early stages of your pregnancy, so you want to be sure you're not pregnant. So then Tisha go take a pregnancy test. And I was like, Tisha, now you should have took this pregnancy test before you left the house. And they gave you the call sheet to be at this Yanni place. Girl, why are you taking a pregnancy test down to the place? So I don't know if the lady gave it to her. She had it ready in her purse. I don't know what was going on. The production gave it to her or what. But Kimmie's like, girl, pregnant, what? And she's like, didn't Marcel get a vasectomy? She's like, what if he didn't take? And so Tisha lets us know after they went to Destin for their daughter's birthday trip, then she went to Vegas with her girls to just kind of unwind and decompress. And she came back feeling sick. She been throwing up. She gaining weight. So she feel like the only thing that's possible is she could be pregnant. I was like, Tisha, girl, you ain't pregnant. Please stop. So anywho, Kimmie's like, girl, so you wouldn't think maybe you had some bad chicken or some food poisoning, got the flu or something? You gonna go straight to the pregnancy test? She's like, girl, give me this test. So, of course, it was negative. Kimmie's like, oh, girl, I would have been shoving that test down Tisha's throat if she would have been pregnant. We all happy she not pregnant. I said, I know that's right, Kimmie. So, anyway, they go to, sit in the thing, and Kimmie's like, oh, yeah, this would have been nice for all the girls. Tisha's like, maybe not, because I'm talking about Keke. Kimmie's like, well, girl, this flash in your face just happened. Like, of course, we're going to want to talk about Keke. She's like, I'm sorry. And so, Tisha's like, I understand all that. Like, I'm done talking about Keke. I'm so over Keke. But the thing is, Mel kept trying to pry. Like, she wasn't letting it go. She kept making it an issue. And so Kimmie, and she said when we went to go do the exercise, I thought it was going to be a fun time, but she kept making it an issue. And so Kimmie then shares, well, I think Mel thought that you had a problem with her because she said after the comeback group meeting where they debriefed about the Black Business Expo, you seem to be shutting her down or whatever. And so they did play the clip. It was a never before seen clip where Kimmie and Mel were at the exercise place, and Mel was like, I feel like everybody was sharing their opinions about the expo, and then when it got to me, she didn't really want to talk about it. Now, it did come off like that, Latisha, like you didn't want to hear what Mel had to say. You heard what everybody else had to say, but you didn't want to hear what Mel had to say, girl. So Kimmie said, Mel, she took it personally when you left because she thought you had an issue with her. And so Latisha's like, no, I didn't have no issue with her. I just felt like she was trying to make it like it was a thing of like, oh, it's not something you did or a conversation you had. And she was like, girl, because I ignored her, like I deserve to get water, a drink poured on me because I ignored her. Like what? And so Latisha's like, I didn't have no issue with Mel. Like me and her was having a good old time at the barbecue before all that happened. Like me and her with Keke and having fun at the barbecue. I don't have no issue with her. Like it's nothing personal against her. So she's like, I just been doing one of my own stuff, my own personal stuff. So Kimmie's like, girl, what's going on? And so Latisha says, it's just been a lot. And oh no, like I feel like I need to tell Marcel, like maybe I'm gonna go back to being a stay-at-home mom. I said, no, Latisha, no, you won't. No, you won't, girl. Don't tell Marcel nothing like that. I don't care if you thinking about it or not. You don't tell Marcel that or not. Even if you decide to go back to be a stay-at-home mom, you don't say nothing to Marcel, Latisha. You hear me, girl? Don't you say nothing to Marcel. Because the minute Latisha says to Marcel, oh, I want to go back to being a stay-at-home mom, girl, that's where you going to be destined. And he going to make sure you stay there. Girl, you, as hard as you had to fight Latisha these last 5 years or so to come out of being that stay-at-home mom, the way Marcel wouldn't let you leave the house with Mel in the first 2 seasons, no, ma'am, you will not go back to that life. You will not. And I ain't saying there's nothing wrong being a stay-at-home mom, y'all, so please do not twist my words. I'm talking specifically for Latisha in this situation. So anyway, Kimmie's like, girl, what you mean? And so then Latisha's like, yeah, it just feels like a lot. I thought once Mila, I guess the youngest daughter, went back to school, I could get involved more in the business and it would be easier and I would have more time, but really it's not working out like that. And things are just not coming together right. And I'm like, I don't know if things ain't working out. Like, maybe that's God's way of saying, like, right now is not the time. Maybe I need to, go back to being a stay-at-home mom, get my life together. Like, I don't really know. And Kimmie's like, girl, no. Like, it could be hard when you have, like, young kids. And Tisha's like, yeah. And then, it was the Black Business Expo and everybody, having issues with that. And then we was trying to have this casino night and people saying we was gonna have illegal gambling. So people attacking our business and it just feels like so much. And then we trying to build our dream home and then we doing renovations on the other house and then we in this little apartment. And she's like, I just feel like my life is so unorganized and I don't want to have issues with my kids. I feel like I'm even having issues in my marriage, and I went to see a life coach, and I don't want to have any regrets. I want to be the best me I can be. I was like, dang, Latisha going through it. I was like, oh, girl, take a breath. Let's just breathe. Latisha, let's just breathe. So Kimmie was like, girl, like, it could be hard, but, maybe you need to take it by bit by bit, one little thing at a time. Like, don't try to do everything at once, especially as your girls get older. You could do more and do more. And so she's just like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna just take a step back and I just need to get my life organized. And I even talked to my daughter and she said I've been yelling at her more. I'm like, Tisha, kids gonna always say that. And she's like, even Martell said we need to go to counseling. So she's like, I know something wrong then. I was like, oh, girl. Oh, Tisha. Even Kimmie was looking all distressed in her face for Tisha, girl. And so I was like, Tisha, we're not going back to where you was, Tisha. No, we not. Now, you can take a couple things off that plate, okay? I think the disorganization of the Scott's life is a major issue, though. Because Tisha probably feels very uncomfortable in that apartment. Scott Manor ain't done. The house is not done being renovated. So I'm sure she does feel very overwhelmed and disorganized. But, maybe getting therapy for her more so, therapy for herself, can help her, take one thing at a time. Life can definitely get overwhelming. And I get it. I get that feeling where you feel like, oh, stuff is just not working out. So maybe you not meant to do it. I've been there very, very, very recently. Okay. And I've been through that several times. So, but God's timing be sufficient, Tisha. You just got to do your best and just take it a step at a time, girl. Oh, no. Don't you dare, Tisha. Hear my words, Tisha. Somebody send this part of the video to Tisha. This whole Tisha segment. Don't you go back to being a stay-at-home mom. Okay? Don't you do that, Tisha. And if you do it in a way where Marcel don't even notice it. If you feel like you got to take a step back, slowly take a little step back from some of the business stuff, the stuff that you okay with Marcel just handling. But don't you take a whole step back, girl. Don't you do that. You came too far. You done went back to school, got a master's. You trying to be a realtor. You trying to get your office done. Don't you do that. Anywho, I was like, no. Somebody rescue Tisha. Anywho, moving on. We see Chris Fletcher is meeting up with his son. Chris comes by the office. He asked him if he cleaned something up. So he was like, we ain't really talked or seen you since the family dinner. Chris was like, yeah, it just was too much happening, all the yelling and screaming. They talked about Alexis and how she be, getting into it. Chris Fletcher says, Alexis always does this, then she comes back to apologize, so it always happens. And now I'm really side-eyeing Alexis. Like, I think she, has some truth to what she said. And I can't, take away how she felt in her family, because we do feel those things in our family sometimes. But if you coming back to apologize, girl, that's the part where I'm like, okay. But, there's part of things we don't know, so I don't know. Anywho, Chris Fletcher was like, when's the last time you talked to your mom? He said he ain't talked to her since the dinner. And he's like, don't you think that's an issue? And then they bring up the dogs. And he feels like, if he wouldn't have lost the dogs if he didn't go to jail. And he still wants his dogs back, but he feels like they're at like an impasse with that. Chris Fletcher says you need to take some more responsibility as a man, which he does. And so he was like, you don't really be around a family. Like, you don't really be there like that. He said, well, it's just hard because I always feel like, everyone's going to talk about me, come at me. Lance got a problem with me. Mama got a problem with me. Keke, Kayla, all them got a problem with me. They think I'm crazy. So I'd rather not, come around. Like, of course, you got to take criticism, but it just feels like it's always something about me when I come around, so he'd rather not come around, which I totally get that. Sometimes you don't feel safe with your own family, y'all. And so although he has made some mistakes, okay, we can't take that away. But anyway, so Chris is like, okay, if you're not coming around the family, like, you're not letting us help you, you're not talking to us, like, what is your outlet? So he said he goes somewhere. I couldn't understand where he said he went, but he goes somewhere at 2 or 3 in the morning to kind of clear his head and think about stuff. And that's what he does. And Chris Fletcher's like, well, how you get up at 2 or 3 in the morning? And he's like, well, I don't really even sleep. I don't really hardly ever sleep like that. Like, my mind just be going. And I don't really, sleep like that. So Chris Fletcher's like, well, that sounds very concerning. Like, it sounds like you might have some kind of depression or something going on. And so he's like, it sounded like it's a bit all over the place. Now, I'm no mental health clinician. I'm not sure if that would be depression or anxiety or a bit of both, but it definitely sounds like a mental health issue is there. And I do hope that little Chris can get some help for himself and get his life in order. And so Chris Fletcher did get emotional, and he said, anytime you need me, I will be there for you. I don't care what time it is. Like, you don't got to go wherever you're going. You could call me. I'd rather you call me than be in the streets somewhere. So, and he got really emotional. And this part really reminded me of Big Jamie and Little Jamie. So that's just why I'm really missing Love and Marriage DC. When are they coming back, Carlos King? But little Chris did say he would, consider going to counseling. So hopefully he does. And Chris Fletcher said he could resonate with his son's feelings because as a black man, sometimes he's went through those things and you can feel very isolated. And I can see that. So I hope that he gets some counseling. Okay, so then the last scene, y'all, now this is where it got very, very interesting. So we're at home with the Whitlows, and Tiffany and Baby Ace is trying to fold all the clothes. She said he's grew out of a lot of the clothes, so she's going to donate some, and she wants Big Lou to help. So she's telling him, like, I met up with Stormy and Keke because Stormy wanted me to hash things out with Keke. He was like smiling like, ooh, child, how did that go? He was like, how did that go? She was like, well, it went good. I saw a different side of Keke I never saw. And Baby Ace was there. He is my witness. So Louis was looking at Baby Ace like, ooh, it went like that. Like, how did it go? Was it good? Was it okay? Now, Baby Ace is sitting there looking at Big Lou saying, I had to protect Mama from getting a beat down from Keke. If it wasn't for me being there, Mama would have got a beat down from Keke. So thank God I was there, Daddy. I said, I know that's right, Baby Ace. So anywho, Louis is like, I was really concerned with you doing that because, you was already having some issues with your mental health and just overall, not even with that situation, just everything you've been going through. You're not trying to claim postpartum depression over your life, but that's what it seems like you're going through. And the Whitlows did share in the beginning of the scene that life has been life and the ace has been acing. And it's just been a lot of changes, a lot of things. It's just been rough. And so Tiffany was like, yeah, it's been really hard. We trying to buy a new car. We got a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old. I still got work. We still trying to run these businesses. Plus, Baby Ace want to be on the titty every 5 seconds. So it's just a lot happening. And I was like, dang, poor Baby Ace. He looking like, dang, Mom and Dad is tired already. They tired. And so Louis is like, these are things we talked about before the baby came, how things would be different. And so Tiffany said, I thought, when I had the baby, I would just pop back into life, pop back into work, and it has not been like that. And, Baby Ace needs me all the time for something. I'm like, yeah, he's a baby, Tiffany. And so Louis is like, I told you it was going to be like this, Tiffany. So in this regard, I do not feel bad for Tiffany because, Tiffany, you have 2 sons that are almost grown. Now, one is yours, one is Louis's. So you didn't have to start over, number one. I get it, you wanted the baby to bring y'all together, and Baby Ace is a blessing. Don't take that from me. But Louis warned you how things would go. And now things are going the way Louis warned you, and now you are backtracking, and it's no backtracking with a baby. Like, girl, he told you this is how it's going to be, and now you complaining. So they said, don't get them wrong. They love Baby Ace. He's a blessing, but definitely it makes things different, and it slows things down, and it's just a lot going on. Plus, they trying to film this TV show, right? So I'm like, yeah, that's how it is. But Big Lou was ready for this. Tiffany was not. So I do feel bad for Tiffany, what she's going through with the mental health and the postpartum. And it did sound like she was crying out for help in this scene. And I know a lot of us don't like Tiffany, but I did feel bad for her in that regard. But I don't feel bad in the regard that, girl, you knew, like, this is how it was going to be when you had this baby. Big Lou tried to tell you, and you didn't want to hear it. You just wanted to have the baby. So anyway, Big Lou then says, you know, it's a lot and you don't want to say you have, you know, you're dealing with stuff. And she's like, yeah, you're talking about postpartum. I didn't even have that with my son, David. And, you know, I have all these things to do. And then you want me to try to articulate that I might have postpartum or be having more negative thoughts than usual. And she said, you know, I got to get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, get my makeup done. I got work all through the middle of the day. Then we're filming late at night at 9 o'clock. We got baby Ace with us. We trying to film. Then you got to try to make the scene and bring the drama. Then people feel like you're not really bringing it like you supposed to. Then they saying you need to be fired from the show. I said, oh, Tiffany, you talking about us and what we said? Because I know I said some things on Twitter. Tiffany, don't call us out. Don't call us out, girl. So I was like, oh, child, they firing shots at us at home. Did y'all feel it? So they showed the flashback of when the Whitlows, I think their first reunion episode, and how Carlos was like, you know, how is it? Because people were saying you was this and that. They was tired of you on the show. And so Tiffany was saying like how it was really, really hard. And so Louis said, I know it was really hard that first season we were on here. And you went through a lot, and now I feel like it's even more. And so they brought up how people be saying, you know, oh, what if Louis is cheating on you? Or Louis, you heard Tiffany didn't cheated and all this stuff. And he's like, you know, I know what's real, what's not real. You know, you are a good woman. I know who I married. You're a wonderful person. But, you know, you need to take a time apart and deal with this stuff. And he said, you know, at the end of the day, like, what's the point of us being on this reality show if it's causing negativity, it's causing stress, if it's another thing added to our life? Like, you know, is this something that we really need to be doing? I said, oh, y'all about to leave the show right here, right now? Did we get Carlos on the line? So Tiffany shared a confessional, like, you know, her husband agrees and supports her that, you know, this may not be the best thing right now, that, you know, it might be a good idea to take a step back. She said she's sad to leave, but she needs to take some time to find herself. And so she said that, you know, just a few months ago, she knew who she was and she's this person. And now, you know, she had this baby and she can't find herself. She don't know who she is. She don't know where she at. She don't know what's going on. I did feel bad for Tiffany in that regard when she said that. And she started crying, and Lil was like, you know what? You're a strong woman. And I know it took a lot for you to even admit and say like, hey, I'm going through these things, and it's good you're a strong woman, but I'm a strong man and I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to protect my family. I said, that's a good man, Savannah. And so Louis said, you know, that's what we're going to do. We got to do. And then they basically said, camera crew, okay, we out. No, they didn't say that, but that was how the scene ended. It was kind of sad. I mean, not that I'm sad to see the Whitlows go, but I was just kind of sad for Tiffany because she actually started crying and she going through it. And I know I drugged Tiffany real bad on Twitter. And it comes to the territory, but it was... And I know people have called her a Karen, but I could tell she really is going through those things, and it was kind of sad to see. So I hope Tiffany also gets whatever help that Tiffany needs as well. Tisha get the same help. Whatever Tiffany helped getting, Tisha, you get it too, okay? As well as Chris's son. And I'm assuming this is the Whitlows' last episode. I'm wondering, will they be on the reunion? They did put a thing about getting help for your mental health at the end, so I thought that was really good. Next week, Tisha talking about Martell went down to Colombia. Remind me, y'all, because I'm finna talk to Tisha about them Colombia things too. Because my ex, y'all, we gonna have a little story time, okay? It ain't gonna be that much of a story time, but yeah, I know all about them Colombian trips, Tisha. So we gonna talk about that next week, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye.